Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are replacing the starter on this is a 2004 Arctic Cat 250. It should be pretty similar on the 300s and the two-wheel drive models, but just kind of apply to other bikes if you have one. First, make sure your starter is actually bad. You can do that by making sure you have a good battery, and you can take these terminals off and just put a screwdriver on it and jump it. This one's not going to do anything because the battery's dead, but do that and see if the starter turns over. If it does and you have a bad starter solenoid or a bad handlebar switch, before you do anything, disconnect your battery just to make sure there's no power or any sparks that can happen on accident. The battery on this one's bad, so you don't have to worry about that. But we'll start with the intake here. So just a Phillips head screwdriver. Loosen it up quite a bit, and then we're gonna have two Torx screws here. These are, let's see what size this is. It's a T30 on this one. And another one here. And this will pop right off just like that. Get that out of your way. And I keep track of all your screws. I like to set them in one spot that I know I won't lose them. Next, you're going to want to come over to the side here. And underneath the side, there's going to be this box right here. I believe this one's the CDI box. But you have to take that off because there's a screw behind there. I haven't seen this on the older 250, so I'm not sure when they started doing this, but this one is like that. So you'll get that out of the way, and then inside this hole here, there's a screw that goes into the side of it. So just undo that, then you'll have to come up to the top here and fish it out. Pretty tight fit in there, so just be patient with it, but it'll eventually come out. And then the final two screws are going to be on the back here, on the back of the machine. We'll have this one right here with the ground strap on it. We'll do that one, and the one next to it. And that should be it for the Torx bits. Now you just need your Phillips head to loosen the carburetor side of the intake here. And then you can kind of wiggle this out of the way. That'll give you a whole lot of working room in here. But you can kind of wiggle that out like that. You can actually disconnect it if you want to, but I'm not going to. Next, you're going to want to get some compressed air and just spray it out around the starter, because you're going to have the just watch your eyes when you do it. You're going to do that to just make sure there's nothing else in the way. Nothing else can get inside your motor. Go ahead and take your screwdriver, just pop up on this. No, I might have to get that once it's out. But we'll go ahead and take the starter bolts out. They're two 8mm on this bike. Most machines are going to be either 8 or 10mm bike screws on it. This one comes in from the side here. One right there, and then there's another one right next to it. Gonna want to catch those, and that's what they look like right there. And then your starter should slide out to the side. Might have to do some wiggling, maybe get a little pry bar or a flat blade screwdriver. Just be careful when you do this. I have seen starters break off inside the motors actually, if you pry too hard on them. And catch this, there's a little spacer right here. So just watch that and make sure it doesn't go flying off somewhere. And slowly pry it. It'll come loose. There we go, just like that. And just be careful because your motor is open now, so you can get dirt and debris in there. So now we just need to undo that starter wire. And this boot on this one's kind of dry rotted. I'll turn it off for a minute, and then whenever I get this back, I'll turn the camera back on. Alright, so I couldn't get it while it was in there, so I took this end off of the starter solenoid right here. So if you have to do that, that's fine. And then it'll reveal this. I had to tear it because mine was too dry rotted to get off. So after that, it'll just be a 10 mil right on top. And then your starter is disconnected. And I'm gonna get the new starter and we'll start reinstalling it. Alright, so here's our new starter. Once you get it out, just check it and make sure the starter looks the same. This one looks the same. This is a, if people wonder, this is a DB electrical starter, I believe, if I remember correctly. So you'll, oops, if you don't drop it, then you'll just take your 10 millimeter off the top there, and you'll set your new wire on. And you'll put the nut on and tighten it down, but I have to go find wherever the nut just fell. Alright, so we got the starter and the wires put back on. I'm just going to go ahead and feed the wire back. If you didn't take your wire off, then you don't have to worry about this, obviously. But it did make it a lot easier. And I recommend you do this when your engine's cool, if you can. Alright, so we got the starter. You're just going to slide it right back into that tube where you pried it out from. You might have to wiggle it in there and then get your pry bar or a hammer or something just to give it a little tap in there. Might have to push it from the side. And just get it in there good enough so you can get the bolts started. And then we'll run our electrical cable right back up to the top. Get the rubber boot back on there. One second, sorry, these boots are kind of hard to deal with. And then you get the nut and put it back on there. And this one's 10 millimeter also, just for those wondering. And just slide that right back on. Then like get a hammer and tap the starter in a little more. Like, alright, I'm getting my pry bar and I'll tap from the side. mess up the new starter too bad if you can. Then you'll get your two 8mm that were in there before and put them back in there. Might have to put them on your extension and kind of push them in there with the extension. Since it is kind of a hard spot to get to. And then once you kind of got it started, you can start spinning it in with your impact, or with your ratchet, of course. If you don't have an impact. And just get them pretty snug and even. They don't have to be ridiculously tight or anything. So once you got that all settled, make sure none of the wires are in the way and everything's good. And then you can go ahead and start reassembling the air box. You'll go ahead and, these Arctic Cat air boxes are kind of finicky to get back onto the carburetor and to slide them in the same spot where they came from. Biting, you can get it back in there. Hard part's just getting the air intake boot back on. You go ahead and loosen up the air box or air intake runner here a little bit more. There we go. Just like that. And once it's on there, you can go ahead and snug it down pretty good. Once you got that snug, we'll go ahead and grab our Torx heads, and we'll go around to the rear of the machine, back over here. And we'll get these started. Don't want to tighten these down yet because we still have to put that side screw back in. So just get them started. Alright. And you're going to want to grab another Torx and run it through that hole. The best way to do it is just go really fast and push it in there before it has time to fall off. And then once you get it started, you can go ahead and get right back to it. Snug it down, and then we'll go ahead and get the ignition box here. Go ahead and get a bolt started in the top here. And then don't forget your one that goes on the bottom as well. And we'll snug these up. And then come around to the back and snug up those ones that you had from before. You'll go ahead and grab your intake runner here, and they usually slide back in there pretty easy, and you push it down on these pins. And then you should have two Torx heads left. Let's go ahead and get them started. Ridiculously tight. Then a final step here So go ahead and tighten up where your intake attaches. I'm gonna just snug it up. It doesn't have to be anything crazy tight. It's just plastic. And then just go ahead and put your seat back on. And that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and get a battery and hook it up real quick, and we'll test to make sure it works. Alright, I got a battery hooked up. I still need to order a starter solenoid for this, so I'm just gonna jump the solenoid just to show you. You see it starts right up. So if you have any questions or anything, then let me know in the comments below. And I think that's gonna be it for this one. Thank y'all for watching. Like and subscribe. Thank you.